In 2021, Star Trek actor and the singer of Rocket Man, William Shatner became the oldest person ever to travel to space at the age of 90. And who else could accomplish such a feat but the original man behind the bold and reckless Captain Kirk? As the space travel industry grows, we'll see more and more examples of boundary breakers like Shatner. Our vision of who goes to space will change, expanding to include people outside the classic military and aerospace pipeline. People who, like an aging sci-fi icon, don't necessarily meet all of the traditional physical requirements. To support this new wave of voyagers into the final frontier, we'll need to develop ways to keep them safe. Because as fun as it would be to pack a carry-on bag and catch a ride into orbit, space is still a very dangerous place. So how do we protect the health of both future astronauts and future space tourists? By understanding what they value. I'm Dr. Eric Stribling with Arizona State University's Interplanetary Initiative, and this is Space for Humans. Historically, what astronauts value first and foremost is getting to go to space. And that can create some challenges. Past astronauts have reportedly hidden medical conditions, from kidney stones to a detached retina, out of the fear that doctors would ban them from liftoff. And that can put both their safety and the crew's in jeopardy. Not that a certain level of bravado is unique to spaceflight. I mean, there's a reason that Tom Cruise's renegade Maverick is a pilot, and military fitness culture has long held influence at NASA. Understanding what people value is vital to design, and it's perhaps nowhere as important as in designing medical devices, where someone's health and safety depend on their use. And research findings can be surprising. What a patient values often isn't the same as what a doctor or designer thinks is important. It's not unusual that a satisfactory medical solution doesn't work because the user doesn't want to use it. In other words, the effectiveness of a medical solution isn't determined solely by its technical or medical capabilities. The human aspect, including autonomy, personal beliefs, social stigmas, convenience, trust, and fear, plays a significant role in the successful implementation and outcomes of any medical intervention. And that matters, because as more people go to space and stay there for longer, we'll need new medical technologies to help manage both the physical and mental impacts. We'll also need people who want to use them. But first, let's talk about what makes space so dangerous. One of the reasons that space travel has been so exclusive throughout its history is that it's hard on the human body. To survive in that environment, astronauts are expected to be in peak physical and mental condition. And the list of medical reasons for rejection is long. Vision problems, cardiovascular conditions, chronic sinusitis, migraine, kidney stones, asthma, and more. As of 2022, to take just one example, about 8.7% of US adults suffer from asthma. And that includes our guest, expert Dr. Jeremy Franson, assistant teaching professor in Arizona State University's College of Health Solutions. We spoke with Dr. Franson about how space affects the human body.
Let's start with the launch. While viewers outside see the shuttle rocketing towards the clouds, trailing a great gleam of fire, on the inside, astronauts are already feeling the effects. The rapid acceleration in gravitational forces, or G-forces, can cause immediate motion sickness. That nausea and discomfort may continue as astronauts first enter microgravity. Our inner ear regulates our sense of balance in gravity. Take gravity away, and it's hard for both the body and the mind to process what it means to be upside down or right side up. It's pretty disorienting. As astronauts adjust to the first few hours in microgravity, another change happens. Fluids in the body shift upwards. You may have heard that the human body is about 60% water. Well, without the forces of gravity, that water and blood can move around, concentrating in the head and torso. The fluid shifts to the head cause puffy face and congestion. So that's the body's first reaction to microgravity. Chipmunk cheeks and a stuffed up nose. But that upward fluid movement also confuses the body, making astronauts feel like they're retaining too much water. What does that mean? You guessed it, increased urination. That's why hydration is so important in microgravity, and also why it helps to have a comfortable space toilet. As we move into days and weeks in space, we see changes in the cardiovascular system. Fluid loss leads to a decrease in plasma volume, which decreases the amount of blood that comes back to the heart with each contraction. When there's less blood returning with every heartbeat, there's less workload on the heart and less stress on the cardiovascular system. Less stress might sound like a good thing, but in this case, it could cause the heart to weaken and even shrink. And that's not good. When we get into months in space, the next challenge is bone loss. Bone mass takes a sharp nosedive at first and then continues to steadily decrease over time. Atrophying bones also release calcium, which can cause kidney stones. Combine the loss in fluids, bone, and muscle mass, and you get an effect called bird legs, where the astronauts' legs get very skinny and weak. It might work for birds. After all, their bodies are designed for flight, but it can be very dangerous for humans. From talking to researchers, I can tell you that bone loss is one of the biggest concerns about travel to Mars. After 5 or 6 months spent in microgravity, astronauts' bone mass would be severely weakened. Gravity on Mars is about 38% of Earth's, but that's still a big change from almost zero. What happens if they break their leg? NASA is constantly developing new ways to prevent bone and muscle loss and keep astronauts' hearts strong, from rigorous exercise routines to medications. But as Eric said, these measures also depend on motivating both certified astronauts and space tourists alike to follow their prescriptions. And people on Earth aren't the only ones who sometimes want to skip leg day.
Have you ever skipped a workout day, or maybe you were on your way to the gym, but you made a wrong turn and ended up in the drive-thru at the In-N-Out Burger? Or maybe you got to the gym, but you set the treadmill to a gentle 2.0 speed, fast enough to keep you moving, but slow enough to keep scrolling Instagram. And here's the secret. Even astronauts do it. Skip a workout day. Take it easy sometimes. Look, we can't all be as rigorous as Taylor Swift training for the Eras Tour. I mean, we're human, and Taylor Swift is not. And that means we don't always do what's good for us. But that can be super frustrating for engineers who expect us to put their designs into use exactly as intended. But to do that, we need to understand what people value. So let me introduce you to a tool called value-driven prototyping. If you've been following along with the series, and I hope you have, you've actually seen an example of value-driven prototyping before. When Astro Access took a team of disabled ambassadors into microgravity, they were testing prototyped solutions to communication and movement challenges faced by each participant. After every test, they regrouped with the ambassadors to share feedback on what they liked or found inconvenient. And the answers were often surprising. And that's the truth about design. We don't just know what people will like unless we ask them to try it out. So now let's combine the two. What does it look like to design medical devices and health solutions for humans in space? As we mentioned, this is an important question as the space industry expands, both who goes to space and how long they stay. So as we look forward to a future of more humans in space, we'll need to develop ways to support both their value of getting to space and our value of keeping them safe. That means working with diverse stakeholders to design and prototype solutions to the medical and physical challenges of space, and then testing those solutions and making improvements based on feedback. Here's a fun example. For astronauts, regular intensive workouts are essential to both preparing for spaceflight and supporting their muscle mass and bone density once they're there. Health professionals can design the perfect workout routine, but it doesn't matter if astronauts don't use it. So NASA is kicking around a new idea, computer-generated workout buddies to help motivate astronauts to hit those daily goals. Imagine if you strapped into your exercise bike on the International Space Station and your favorite spin instructor appeared as a hologram, reminding you to put in the miles to earn the things you value most, like, say, the immeasurable beauty of the blue planet. Or one more freeze-dried ice cream sandwich. Or maybe you could work out with a CGI Spock. Who better to remind you that exercise is the path to live long and prosper? All right, Scotty, beam me up. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Space for Humans. I'm a rocket man, rocket man, rocket man.